It's a very special time in a dragon's life. They give themselves to another. They choose to share wealth, health, and happiness. It's an event that calls for great celebration, music, feasting, and an excuse to drink copious amounts of alcohol. Hi, I'm your host Heatwave, and in today's little episode, I'll be exploring the weddings and marriage in the Empire of Pareena. I'm feeling like I've forgotten something. Oh shit! It's my wedding anniversary! Welcome back to the Wings of Fire spin-off series Empire of Pareena. If you haven't done so already, please leave a like, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes that I publish. So in today's little episode, I'll be moving our focus back to culture and looking at imperial weddings and marriage in the Empire of Pareena. Since we are talking about weddings, I better fit the theme. There we go. Anyway, a dragon can have a lot of different types of relationships: friends, family, acquaintances, even simple relationships like a breeding partner. But some dragons choose to officially sanctify their love, attraction, and appreciation with another by entering in a bond of marriage. It's a significant event in a dragon's life, and because the Empire loves a good ceremony, it too is a very big spectacle, and that's not including weddings for the Imperator. Now, a little history. Before there were even weddings, there were celebrations, and big ones. Most of these celebrations were, of course, perpetrated by the Mudwings. Due to the community and communal living and beliefs of Mudwings, they made extravagant celebrations, parties, feasts for basically everything. They had music, dance, and games, the true pinnacle of culture among dragons. When the Mudwings arrived in the wet spring rainforest, they shared this celebration obsession with the Rainwings. But the first celebration of relationships came only when a Mudwing and a Rainwing declared their affection for one another. This was seen as a great step in the unity of the two winglets, and of course, called for a celebration. Now, how does that translate into weddings and marriage in the wider Empire of Pareena? Well, the concept of marriage has always been among dragons, but it's lacked a name. After the founding of the Empire of Pareena, the term long-life breeding partner was simply referred to as marriage. The word marriage was actually Nevada's idea. It used the old Sandwing word for many, known as marii, and the word age to form the word marriage, or together we age. How romantic. It was advertised early on in the Empire as a way for dragons to unify, as that was the goal of the Empire after all, to unite all dragons, so why not unite dragons one by one on a relationship scale? Those who did choose to marry would receive a grand ceremony courtesy of the imperial parliamentary government. To show an example of this, the very first recorded wedding was actually Ocean and Nevada. They came together to show the new empire that they could be united on a more personal level. The concept of marriage was now a standard practice among the empire. Marriage is handled by the Department of Records. A dragon couple can file for marriage through the Department of Records by mailing an application to the department or by scheduling a meeting with an admin clerk of the Department of Records. To be successful for a wedding, a dragon must have a willing and consenting adult as their partner, but they can be of any gender and of any winglet. Other requirements include a dragon must not be in a current marriage. Upon a successful filing of a marriage, a couple will have to pay 50 gold coins. That is a lot. The average wage for most dragons is about 2 to 5 gold coins if they hold a government job. Some dragons have to save and save their gold just to be able to afford a wedding. But it's worth it since the Department of Records helps set up a venue, provide the feast, the celebratant, and of course, the cake. Again, the Empire wants to promote more weddings and marriage, so they opt to fork out the resources for it to happen. When the paperwork is finally signed and the funds granted, it's up to the new couple to set a date and send out invitations for up to 100 guests. My wedding only got 36 dragons. Yeah, that's right. This sandwing's taken. Anyway, the Department of Records picks the venue for the wedding and ceremony, and it's actually the Great Hall situated inside the Imperial Palace, just beyond its great doors. The Great Hall is one of the oldest parts of the palace, and it's big enough and long enough to host a large wedding. This long hall is the original site of the imperial throne, first sat upon, of course, by Empress Ocean, which pays respect to Ocean as she hosted the first wedding, of course. The hall can accommodate up to 150 dragons and was first used to hold government way back in Pareena's history, so it's got the space to hold a wedding. The venue is set out the same for every wedding, for simplicity's sake. There is a long white rug cutting down the center of the hall, with each flank a row of quilted cushions for guests to sit at. The decor is a cream or blue drapes and flowers, but the lucky couple can choose the decor if they have the coin to pay for it. At the farmost wall near Ocean's throne is where the couple will stand as the celebrant will usher the couple into marriage. At the back of the hall, near the great doors leading out of the palace, is where the small feasting space will be set up, provided in conjunction with the Department of Civil Services. The main floor is then cleared of the quilted cushions to be converted into a dancing space after the ceremony. So what, or better question, who is the celebrant? A celebrant is a member of the Department of Law and Internal Affairs, tasked with issuing a dragon couple with the rights of marriage, and wears a nifty bakama, as all good dragons do. The celebrant will read a marriage rite first spoken by Empress Ocean, a vow in a way, to uphold the unity of marriage as an example of unity among dragons. Once a dragon is married, they are married for life. The rite reads, "To be unified by gold in the face of a unified empire will become a great example of the dreams and ideals of our kin. Rejoice, friends and family, as these two dragons become forever entwined in both wealth and health. May they lead by example that all dragons, no matter the winglet, can come together as one. I now declare this couple as sanctioned under imperial law. Together we age." The newlywed couple will be issued a scroll to sign declaring their marriage as official. This record is also held by the Department of Records. They hold a scroll of every marriage that has occurred in the Empire of Pareena. Upon the celebrant declaration, the couple will embrace each other in a way they find befitting. This could be a bow, a kiss, a hug, a wing brush, or a tail entwine. The guests of the wedding will then throw flowers at the couple. In these moments, the couple will exchange a wedding gift of significant value. A ring is very common, but it can be anything from a gold chain to a polished rock. Doesn't matter what it is, it's a significant symbol to the couple itself. The ceremony will end and it will turn to the post-ceremony. This ends up being music, dance, and feasting, and of course lots and lots of drinking. One significant part of a wedding is the cake. These cakes of this size are only used for weddings, and most ovens can only bake small cakes, but a multi-tier cake requires a very special oven, only found in the Imperial Palace, and it tastes very good. Crafted out of flour, honey, and vegetable or olive oil, as well as sugar. Lots and lots of sugar. I mean, lots. And sometimes bovine milk. Baked right and assembled quickly. Many of the decorations are made out of moulding sugar and fondant, but sometimes fruit is used. I'll have to discuss food in the Empire at some point, so I'll save it for another dedicated lore episode. Now, because this is a wedding, dragons have to come in the most elegant and sophisticated attire. It's a deep expectation, of course. But for the couple, they too wear very specific attire. The colour white is chosen as it refers to snow. Snow falls from the sky, and as temperatures heat up, it melts and thaws into the landscape. What was once ice becomes water, and unites itself with the landscape. So white does have a significance for weddings. A female will wear an elegant flowing white dress and padding over her forelimbs. She will wear a veil over her snout and a very special headdress called an iron halo. This is an homage to a design of crown first worn by the first empress for a short amount of time during her reign. A female may also paint her talons white for the occasion, because every bride deserves to be a queen, of course. The males wear a white bakama and white padding on their forelimbs, along with a collar. Both genders may wear items of cultural significance and personal significance. Animal skins are actually commonly worn as a sign of elegant attire. Now, the wedding of an imperator is a little different. The current imperator may choose a dragon to wed from anywhere across the empire. Love has no bounds, of course. It could be a low farmer or a proud custodia even. Anyway, the ceremony is exactly the same, yet it's more private. Once the ceremony has ended, though, the imperator will parade the streets of the first city with their new significant other to show them off to the cheering crowds of the population. In fact, each imperator has worn a custom dress or bakama for their wedding. No two were ever the same, but this is only for the imperators that actually chose to marry. Now, before 2130, it was not a thing for a dragon to marry a Groznian, but after Groznian hybrids argued for their full body kin to be given the full rights under imperial law, the Civil Rights Initiative argued further that Groznians should be given marriage rights to show that they too can be unified with dragons. While Groznians and dragon weddings are rare, they were allowed by 2131. There is no evidence of the Imperial Groznians having any wedding rites or practices that originate from the SSG. In the end, weddings are just a small part of dragon culture. Now, not every dragon needs to get married, and it's not a social expectation. It is praised by the wider population of Pareena, but it's free for all dragons to choose. There is no gain or loss by getting married. Dragons don't gain any new social standing or gold for participating. They just become an example of how dragons can come together. So, with that...
Heatwave!
Oh, babe.
Don't babe me. You forgot our wedding anniversary.
I've been your host, Heatwave, signing off.